Hello, good evening and a very warm welcome to the Hot Seat. In the Hot Seat tonight is the news editor of the Island newspaper, Mr. Shamindra Ferdinando. Very good evening to you, Mr. Ferdinando. Thank you for being on the Hot Seat.
Thank you, Faraz. Good evening to you.
And first of all, let us ask you about the story that's making the greatest amount of news at the moment, and that seems to be the allocation of the subjects to various ministers following the cabinet reshuffle. And of course, principal amongst that was the consternation raised by the granting of, or the allocation of the National Lotteries Board and the Development Lotteries Board to the Minister of Foreign Affairs. What's going on? Is this...
For us, I must tell you, the allocation of the Lotteries Board and the Development Lotteries Board to the Foreign Ministry is making news. But those who are making allegations have not commented on the situation previously. You know, during the previous administration, the former President Rajapaksa brought the Attorney General's department under him. Right. So during different administrations, the governments have resorted to various tactics.
Very sort of inventive, they become very inventive. But the point is, you say, you know, that President Rajapaksa had the Attorney General's department listed under him. Well, that's a poor bar. That yardstick isn't good enough for this government, because they promised. That's why this is one of those many such incidences why President Rajapaksa lost his popular appeal, even by whatever 400,000 votes or whatever it was. And this government have promised, and they've been elected on the premise that they will introduce good governance. So if this cannot be good governance, surely.
Sir, for us, you must realize that, you know, a couple of months back, the Yahapalana government reached an agreement with the US, and they signed an agreement worth 1.92 billion worth agreement to receive advice, you know, instructions and whatever assistance from the US to improve good governance, to further improve good governance and to handle accountability. So maybe the US government, the US embassy in Colombo and other interested parties, the civil society, those who had voted Maithripala Sirisena into power in January 2015 should raise this issue. But
why are they silent? Why are they silent? Is it surely good governance and democracy and all the values that's attached to that is not simply the preserve of only one party, and the onus of responsibility should be greater with this government, because after all they made it their mantra to come into power.
Don't take promises given by politicians seriously for us.
But unfortunately,
because we have been in this game for a long time to know that they don't keep their promises. You take the central bank issue, you take, I mean, I can mention number of other issues where Yahapala leaders have, you know, broken their promises. You know, now you take the case of foreign judges, right? The government, the UNP, the SLFP have repeatedly say that foreign judges would not be allowed in. But the Human Rights Commissioner, I think Ambika, yesterday on TV1, she said, I mean, she said the government had agreed to foreign judges. So the parliament was told a couple of weeks back during an adjournment motion that foreign judges would not be allowed in under any circumstances. So you take any field, any sector, any ministry, you know, Yahapal government leaders, they, you know, I can very openly say, tell you that they deceive the people. and the previous lot did the same. But I think the SLFP and the UNP and the members of the major political parties are united in one thing. When it comes to their perks and privileges,
then there's
one. I mean, yesterday on television I saw the joint opposition leader, Dinesh Gunawardena, strongly, shielding those who have sold their duty-free car permits. So, there's no hope for this country. I mean, you take the SLP, the UNP and joint opposition and the TNA also. The same. See, the move made against Vigneswaran, whatever his shortcomings, the Chief Minister of the Northern Province took action against two corrupt politicians. Right?
But why did he, there was also some consternation about another two.
The Chief Minister directed, took action against two people and directed two others to go on leave, pending investigations. But the TNA leadership in Colombo took a different stand on this issue, right? So they raised hell and, they created a situation where a section of the TNA plus the UPFA members petitioned. They moved against the Chief Minister, demanding his removal. So this is the situation in this country. I mean, whatever the politics, I think if any politician engage in corruption, he should be punished.
I suppose that's only fair. But do you think that in Sri Lanka there's a commitment for that to ever happen?
I don't think so.
Whilst they're in power?
Now, obviously, those who had been voted out of power also, that they have, up to now, they have survived. I mean, no tangible action has been taken against...
Why is that? Do you think, is there a cover-up going on between them and us, as it is? Between that government and this government?
I don't think there's a cover-up, but there's no interest. There's no interest.
Right.
Because now, I think a few days back, the General Secretary of the UPFA, Minister Amarveera, he said a senior Mahavali official had demanded a BMW from a person to release Mahavali land to him illegally. Right? Now, then this government, Yahapalana government, should take action against the official and also the person who offered that bribe.
Indeed.
Right? So I think some time back, former President Kumar Tunga also claimed that some people tried to bribe her. So a number of other politicians have also claimed various people had tried to bribe her. But up to now, they had not revealed their names and no action taken.
On that note, we'll take a short break. Don't go away. Do stay connected. After all, this is the Hot Seat. And welcome back to the Hot Seat, where we are joined by Mr. Shamindra Ferdinando, the news editor of the Island newspaper. Now, Mr. Ferdinando, the issue of foreign judges has again raised its head. What do you think will eventually happen? Will this government come to an arrangement with the United Nations? Or will it just drag on until the next election and hopefully a new government, and then it'll have to start all over again? What do you think?
The government of Sri Lanka and the UN Human Rights Commission reached agreement on this in October 2015. And again in March this year, we have asked for additional time, additional 2 years to address those issues. And the resolution sponsored by Yahapalana government on 1st of October 2015, it very clearly says international judges, including Commonwealth. So they cannot deny the fact that we have agreed to include foreign judges in the local mechanism.
Yes, whilst they've agreed, can't they have a change of mind?
No, it is not possible, because we have agreed and the TNA factor, the Tamil diaspora. So all these people will keep demanding that foreign judges are included in the judicial setup here. So I don't think we can move away from that position, and especially yesterday a member of the Human Rights Commission of Sri Lanka very clearly stated that we have agreed. We have agreed to accommodate foreign judges, and she said that foreign judges will enhance confidence among the people. I mean, so she was on TV1 yesterday morning. So I think the government should respond to this situation and tell the people the truth.
And nothing but the truth.
Nothing but the truth.
Right. Well, shall we go on a bit? What about this bit about the allocation of duties? Can you think of any other period when a cabinet reshuffle has been happening in this country, when various ministers asked for various other categories to be listed under the ministry they're moving to?
No, I have not heard of similar situation.
So one of the people, one of the cabinet people who was interviewed by a newspaper, by a network, said that there was no legal framework to preclude one minister having any particular subject.
Yeah, first now you must see they have attached highways to higher education. So Minister Lakshman Kiriyal holds those portfolios. So then for finance, now Minister Samaravira is a Minister of Finance.
That's right.
He holds the media portfolio. But Minister Dr. Senaratna finds us as the cabinet spokesman. Right, so strange situation. And then you have Dayasri Jayasekara representing the SLFP. He's called co-cabinet spokesman. And there was a very interesting thing. I think about 2 weeks back, Dayasri Jayasekara blasted the government, the system for allocating these two institutions to Minister Ravi Karunanayake. He said it was wrong.
And is he right? Is it wrong?
No, I mean, what the minister said was those institutions should not have been given to Ravi Karunanayake.
Okay.
He criticized the system.
So,
but when the issue was raised by the media at the post-cabinet media conference at the information department, the minister refused to respond to those questions. He said that I am representing the government now, so don't ask that question. So that was his position.
Very odd.
Very odd. Very odd. So it's obviously the minister feels when he goes to the provinces, when he addresses the ordinary people, he can say anything he wants to.
And they'll buy it.
And in Colombo he says something else. He refused to answer that question. So that's the situation for us.
But as a senior hand in the world of journalism and so on, and you've observed many a finance minister come and go, and as many leaders have come and gone, and when you look at everything that's gone on, do you think that there is some hope at all for the people of Sri Lanka to get back to a level playing field, for them to have the lights on that they want and do what they need and send their children to school and have a home to live? Do you think that's going to happen?
No, for us. I don't think so. I don't think
Why?
so.
Is that
for us, I mean, recently we came across information, and members of parliament representing all political parties, now they received tax exemptions up to 3 million, 30 million. Right.
You talk about the duty-free permit.
Yes. But the same government, when the floods, when the country was struggling to meet the situation, that we requested biscuits, sugar and dal from India, right? So just imagine the situation. They spend so many millions on politicians of all political parties. They are provided with a range of perks and privileges at taxpayers' expense. When something happens, some natural disaster, then we depend on Japan, China and various countries too. And recently several ministers were talking about their plans to hold an international donor conference to request international assistance. So I think, first of all, the government and the opposition, including the joint opposition, should make a contribution.
I see.
Right? All these people receive rupees 100,000 each in addition to their monthly salary. So just imagine the situation. And those who died at in Ratnapura, then Kegol, then Mathura, up to now they did not receive anything. Right? So that's the situation. If something happens to a politician in this country, now the politicians, they can go to Singapore, no? So the President's Fund will release adequate funds for them to go to Singapore. And recently, I think Minister Rajesh Seraratne, he said that the Prime Minister wanted him to receive medical treatment in Singapore. He said it.
But could he prove that?
His media secretary issued a statement a couple of weeks back. So I think the people here have to think about the whole setup. Whole setup for us, because in the run-up to elections, all media organizations, both print and electronic media, they take sides. They promote various political parties. Now, during the previous administration, in the run-up to the last presidential election in January 2015, the Yahapalana leaders, the civil society, they received tremendous amount of coverage in the electronic media and the print media, and they promise all sort of things. But today we realize there is absolutely no difference between this lot and the previous lot.
They're one lot. Is that what you say?
If you heard, you were there yesterday when Joint Opposition Leader Dinesh Gunawardene responded to that question raised by TV1 team. Mr. Gunawardene defended the MP's right to obtain duty-free car permits and sell the vehicles. And I'm telling you, only last week, Attorney at Law Nagananda Kodithuakku made representations before the Supreme Court against the Bribery Commission. The failure, he pointed out how the failure on the part of the Bribery Commission had contributed to this situation. Right? So I think all of us should inquire into this situation and try to educate the people to identify good politicians. And I think the people cannot have faith in those representing major political parties. Not anymore.
On that note, we'll take a short break. Don't go away. After all, this is The Hot Seat. And welcome back to The Hot Seat. And our guest this evening is Mr. Shamindra Ferdinando, the news editor of the Island newspaper. Now, Mr. Ferdinando, we've spoken about all these contentious things, like the allocation of subjects and so on. But what are the hopes? What has happened, for example, to all these allegations of corruption against the previous main people, the previous family, the first family, and their officials and so on? All of them seem to have made a customary pilgrimage, almost, to the offices of the FCID. Now, we can see from the media reports and so on that this practice has slowed down tremendously. Is that because A, they are not guilty, or B, because the government is unable to prove their guilt?
For us, at the onset of Yahapal administration, I remember Foreign Minister Mangala Samaraveera, the former Foreign Minister Samaraveera. You know, at a press conference at Sirikota, he accused the previous government, the former president, of having 18 billion US dollars in foreign accounts.
That's right.
So then Yahapal government must prove its allegations, must prove the allegations, right? So, but I must tell you, the failure on their part to prove allegations does not mean that the previous government, members of the previous government did not rob the country. So there's a need to investigate and take tangible action against politicians and officials. But I must tell you, now see, you know, it's very funny when you talk about corruption. Now yesterday, today in the morning, you had a senior official, government official, who had survived for 8 years.
8 years in his job.
Yes, so just imagine, the power sector is one of the most corrupt sectors in this country.
Yeah.
You know, even the Supreme Court expressed serious concern about these coal deals, right? But the people who are supposed to regulate the system, in charge of such, you know, who are supposed to, you know, take action against corruption or wrong practices, they remain. They remain. I mean, it's a terrible situation. You see, just imagine, let me put it this way, if you change sides, you can simply switch your allegiance to Yahapal leadership and ensure that they don't take action against you. Right?
It's as blatant, as simple as that, is it?
As simple as that, because see, this government comprised UNP members and SLP, a section of the SLP. So all members of the SLP had been with former President Mahinda Rajapaksa for 10, 15, 20 years. Right? So as soon as they change sides, the police, the judiciary feel no need to investigate them. So that's the situation. That's the situation.
So how does that augur? Does it augur? Is it good news for democracy?
For them. For them, it's good news.
People. What about the people?
They don't care for people, for us. Just you know, you don't need the CID. You don't need the CID. Just go through parliamentary records, the parliamentary reports produced by COPE and PAC, the Committee on Public Enterprises. You will find lot of information that can be used to take ministers to court, right, on the basis of findings made by COPE, Vasudeva Nanakara, during the previous administration, moved Supreme Court, right? But the major political parties are not interested in acting, I mean taking action on the basis of those reports, because they know that if they take action, they'll have to take action against members of all political parties, all major political parties. I'm not talking about the TNA and the JVP.
Right.
I'm talking about the JVP. I'm talking about the SLP and the UNP.
Right, and they're also in bed together. So
very clearly, very clearly.
So, are we right in having any hope, or should we throw hope to the winds?
There's no hope for us. I don't see any, you know, in the near future, you know, the police and the judiciary taking action against these people. Nothing will happen. Nothing will happen, because now the next general elections, less than about 2 years, they had the parliamentary elections in August 2015. So the next elections 5 years away. By 2018, 2019, they'll start getting ready for the next election. And I don't think they'll have any time to catch people. I mean, they'll simply start talking politics.
And they'll start packing their bags.
Yes, and they'll again play this Geneva issue and try to get the party in power. I'm talking about the Japan leaders. They'll try to use the Geneva issue to win back, to ensure that TNA supports the Japan government.
Are you confident that things will change?
No, certainly not for us.
So your stress levels must be up.
Yes, maybe.
Well, Shaminder Ferdinando, thank you very much for being on the hot seat, and we look forward to welcoming you on our network another time, another place, another program. Thank you. And that's it from the hot seat. We'll see you again in a fortnight, same time, same place. Good night.